record, even though we do record on specific times, though those times are not strictly adhered to. Um, but we do all the things that a podcast would do. We live stream the podcast, we record the podcast, we post the podcast in all the places where podcasts are.
Yeah.
Uh, and yet, not many listeners, and we like to say it's intentional. And it has become intentional over the years. I don't know if we actually had that, because uh, and it has been a year at least, Ben, right? Am I right at that?
A year since
That
when?
since we had our most viewers, and all the problems that entailed.
um, has it only been a year? It feels like it's been longer than that.
It might be longer than a year. So the basic thing is this: Ben does all the things behind the scenes. He records, or he sets up the live stream, and he moderates the live stream and all that. And there was a time when a bunch of people showed up, and Ben protected me by not telling me exactly what was happening, but it was a bunch of people being hostile, I guess would be the a good way to say it.
Hostile's a good way to put that.
And so, and yeah, so we had a lot of avenues that people could use to contact us and interact with us. We don't do that anymore, and I think we're better for it. I think that in the end, we will be uh, lauded. We will be seen as innovators about the fact that we did not only not pander to an audience, but actively made sure that our audience was small. How small? Usually one person, usually drunk, for the live streams. But Stephen McCandless shows up, and Stephen McCandless is, I believe, our regularist listener.
Yeah, I think even if he doesn't show up for the live streams, I think he still just listens to the show when it comes
Yes.
out.
I think he has told us that this show is best listened to at 1.25 speed.
And with all of
And
the pauses taken away.
yeah, oh, can you do that on a
I have no idea. That's just I don't
podcast
know
feed?
what I don't know what
Maybe he wouldn't it be
service he
funny?
uses.
Wouldn't it be funny if Stephen McCandless, our major listener, does more editing of the podcast than we do? Like if he actually takes the time to do something that removes the pauses, because we don't, and we never will.
Never.
See how long of a pause that was? That was intentional. Yes. Did you lose your feed? No, you didn't. It's just it's just the way it
Did
works.
you lose
So,
your feet?
feed. Feet. So, Ben,
Yes,
Lawrence,
Paul. Goody.
it's time for Ben gonna guess the news in
Uh-oh.
a roundabout way.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've been watching. I don't go on Reddit anymore. Here's the thing. I don't go on Reddit anymore, and I'm not on Twitter. But I have been watching YouTube. We've talked about this. YouTube is great. I
You get
forgot
your
how much I
news from
liked YouTube, especially if you don't get onto the comments. YouTube is wonderful.
Right.
What's not to like? It's what television of the future should be. Do I subscribe to YouTube at all? No, I do not. Would I? I don't know, maybe,
Even though
but I
YouTube
don't.
probably tries to sell YouTube TV to you just as heavily as it does to me.
It does, yes. But so far, it's so fine for me. I don't mind the ads on YouTube. Uh, but this is the basic thing.
Yeah.
Because we don't have YouTube Premium or whatever, get ads on our YouTube.
Right.
And I don't know if we talked about this or not, but for some reason, I've been getting a lot of really right-wing, really conspiracy theory heavy ads lately.
What sort of like sell your
Well,
jewelry for money kind of ads or
oh no, Ben. And this goes into the Ben Gunn Guess the News thing. About a week ago, before, right around the end of last week's podcast,
Yeah.
I was treated to an ad where there was a guy who was showing a gas mask, and he said, "Do you have a gas mask? If not, you're going to want to buy one for you and your family because there's something coming that the CIA doesn't want you to know about that could affect the lives of every man, woman, and child in the United States."
You and your
And
conservative loved ones.
I've
Liberals
been
can
watch
fend for themselves.
I watched this, and then I said to Jennifer, "Hey Jennifer, there's a guy who wants us to buy a gas mask because for us here in the United States, because there's something the CIA
Right.
doesn't want us to know about."
Famously,
And
the
of course,
CIA.
famously, the CIA does not, and I'll put not in quotes because who knows,
Right.
doesn't concern themselves with domestic
Their jurisdiction
terrorism.
is
That's
elsewhere.
that's the FBI.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, whatever. So Ben, something happened, and then after that, I said, "Hey Jennifer, do you think that would qualify as something that the CIA knew about and didn't want us to know that this guy was talking about?" Because something happened after I saw that ad and now, so sometime within the last week, something happened that the CIA might actually have knowledge about and maybe didn't want to release information about. I don't know if that's true, but and then after you guess what I'm talking about, I'll talk about why that's probably not the case.
Well, the biggest news coming out between shows here, it might be what you're alluding to, and I might actually have something to
Probably
do.
is.
Might have something to do with the preamble up to it about our show being brigaded. Is the Hamas attack on Israel?
The Hamas attack on Israel. So I said to Jennifer, I mean, that could be something that the CIA wouldn't want us to know about. And I guess it could
But how did
lead
that guy
to
know?
attacks and right, exactly, right. And then I realized cold reading. You know about cold reading.
Yes.
It's a tactic that they do. Ben and I are both fans of. We're not magicians. And Ben, I wanted to talk to you about this. If we ever get into the same city again and we start performing again, I think we should work a magic act. I think it would be great. Us
Magic.
amateur, yeah, exactly, amateur magicians. That's a little treat for the people on the live feed. Ben put up his two thumbs and waggled them and said magic. It's a punchline to a joke. Shout out to Otis Sweezy. Hope you're still alive. Hope you're doing good. Um, so here's the basic thing. Uh, he said, and I quote, "There's something that's happening that the CIA doesn't want you to know about."
Yeah.
Right? Then something happens that's international and kind of big. And I'm like, oh, maybe that's what that guy was talking about. And if you ask that guy, he probably will say, yes, that's
Of
what I was
course.
talking about.
Yeah.
However, there are other things that happened. There was an earthquake in Afghanistan, I believe, and things of that nature. And maybe if that other attack didn't happen, that would be something that we would fill in the blank and go, oh, maybe this is what they're talking about. Now, it just so happens that it's kind of a big thing, but there we go.
The thing about this guy who has enough money to buy an ad on YouTube TV, A of all,
Yeah.
well done, guy. Um, I don't know a lot about the attack. I haven't heard anything about gas being used. It's mostly just been like conventional weapons of
Oh
war.
no, yeah, and I'll get to that part in a second. Um,
Yeah.
he
So
was talking about people in the United States, right? And yeah,
yeah.
why would you need a gas mask in the United States? So here's the thing. Um, the idea is, and you gotta go a couple of steps away, right? There's an attack in Israel. It makes people emboldened, and then they do attacks in the United States. That's the idea that
Right.
that there will be other attacks now that there was an attack there.
There's I mean, in
And,
the time since those attacks in Israel, I'm sure it's possible that more than one mosque has been attacked in the United States.
right. And this is the thing that I was going to say is that this person who's doing this, if this is in fact what he was talking about, because again, how would he know that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Um, hey, bet that there's going to be violence at some point in time in the Middle East, and you're not going to be wrong. Um, but the
We'll
so
take
the
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 over.
big thing, and this is kind of another thing that you alluded to. Um, so one of the things that I've talked about in this podcast before is I was raised Lutheran in Southern Illinois. Later on, met both of my biological parents. None of them, not the people that raised me, not my biological family. None of them are associated or consider themselves Jewish at all.
Yeah.
But, and we've talked about this a couple of times on the podcast. 23andMe. I have some Jewish ancestry, and also and you remember this, I think, in the theater community and film community, when I had an agent and things like that, I would sometimes get uh, calls for roles for Jewish people. There was a disastrous one that I don't think we've ever talked about on the podcast that was supposed to be about a Jewish family, and it's like somebody's bar mitzvah or someone's Hanukkah or someone, like it had a Jewish gathering name of some kind, and I attempted to do a New York accent for it. This is when I was younger and inexperienced. Uh, no one asked me to. No one asked me to. I just,
Are you
thought that it
are you brave enough to try to recreate that New York accent
absolutely
here on the
not.
podcast?
Absolutely not.
Oh,
I will not.
our
Although you
audience
hear
are
it,
disappointed.
here's the thing: you hear it come out sometimes on this very podcast. I
Right.
do
You've
like,
heard a lot of things.
yeah. So it's not something that I don't do. It's something that does happen, but it's spontaneous. I don't do it like, oh, now I'm going to do this accent.
Yeah.
I'm saying something and I want to do the accent for it. That's that sort of thing. So anyway, what I'm saying is that now that all of this, since the attack has happened, there are people that I know online. I'm not on social media anymore, but I am on, like things like a Discord server here and there and all that.
Yeah.
Uh, People are, by and large, in the places where I'm at, very much pro Palestine, very much anti-Israel, and who can blame them? I would say not me. Uh, there are a bunch of different things. I really liked your friend and mine, Brett Fetzer, took me to see Divine Intervention, which is written by a guy who's Greek Orthodox, written and directed by a guy who's Greek Orthodox, living in Palestine uh, slash Israel. Like, there's a border wall there and a whole bunch of you know stuff back and forth, and these things are complicated.
Right.
And whenever anybody asks me what I think about it, I don't have a take, right? You know, I don't say, here's how you solve that problem. I don't know, but I do recommend the movie Divine Intervention for anyone who wants to get a more nuanced take of what's happening. I think he does a good job. He did another show, film. I'm looking it up because I don't remember what the name of the film is. And I think it's important. I think it's important that I actually get the name right of the film. So again, Divine Intervention 2002, not Divine Intervention. Um, let's see, not Divine Intervention 2023, a different movie altogether. Divine Intervention 2002, and his other film that is about the basically how the founding of Israel and what he experienced when that happened was The Time That Remains, an examination of the creation of the state of Israel in 1948 through to the present day, which I thought was very interesting as well. Um, that was in 2009 that film came out, and you can actually stream it on AMC Plus, which I have. And I think you might have it, Ben. I'm not positive.
I do not have AMC Plus. I get my AMC Plus TV shows another way.
Oh,
But there's
hey, don't ask me.
there is a I mean, like with any international incident, there's it's the complete story is more complex
Yeah,
than like these people versus these people or this country versus
yeah,
this country, right? You could um but it takes a more nuanced understanding of that kind of thing. Like in 2003 when we went to war in Iraq, you had like right wingers, like all the Iraqis are evil, and they all flew those planes into the World Trade
yeah.
Center.
And as we stated before, of course, the short, or not the short, the lack of people acknowledging the fact that there were some folks during that time who are like, wait a second, why are we going after Iraq?
Yeah,
Everyone, people who say, well, everyone knew. People now say that in hindsight, yeah, we shouldn't have been there. You were there. I was there.
it's
We
may
had
have
we
been more
had
than
people
may have been 20 years ago, but it's still somewhat recent history.
we had people it basically, I'm not saying our entire circle of friends, but most people in our circle of friends were like, no, Iraq, why are
You've
we doing that?
you've already mentioned him. Brett Fetzer told a story about how he actually got, I don't know if it was an argument, but like a heated discussion with Stranger
Yeah,
editor Dan Savage because Brett's like, this is the wrong move, and Dan Savage, the editor of the Stranger at the time, was very pro war, I suppose.
yeah. I mean, we had news, politics. Hillary Clinton was at that point in time a was she a senator from New York City? I believe from New York
In
State. I believe so.
2003,
Yeah, I
I
believe
don't
so.
remember when she was elected to the Senate of New York State.
Yeah. Well, all I know is that she voted for the Iraq War, and I believe it was
Yeah,
partially
I
due to the fact that she was in New York State, and most people in New York State were
yeah.
very, very much.
I'm probably gonna get this wrong because that's what we do on the show. We keep it wrong, but I want to say that
Yeah.
there's just like there was one Democratic legislator or
Uh-huh.
senator, a representative or senator. I don't know which house. Who's the one? Probably a senator because they have the most votes,
Yeah.
or the most pull with their votes. I should say. Who voted no? Who said no? We shouldn't do this.
Was
Was it
it Bernie
Feinstein?
Sanders?
I got.
It
I should.
seems like it'd be Bernie
I
Sanders.
should look that up. I don't think it was Bernie. I want to say it was a
Oh,
woman from
interesting.
the West Coast.
Well, yeah,
Maybe it
it
was a
should
House
be.
resolution. Maybe it was a representative from
All right,
somewhere.
Ben. We're doing this. We're fact checking. Yeah, we don't want to be wrong this time. There are a couple
All
things
right,
we
who
want to be
voted
wrong.
against the war resolution
Who
in 2003?
voted against Iraq war? Yeah, but that's the thing. Brett Fetzer's thing is proof positive. If nothing else, that some people were talking about. Who voted against Iraq war in 2003? It's 2002. Authorization for use of military force against Iraq.
Yeah.
This is in Wikipedia.
Right, because we actually went there in March of 2003.
Quick facts. All right. I'm looking. Let's see.
The yays have it.
Passage. Passage of the full resolution.
While you're doing that, I'll
Eyes.
do a plug for Lagunitas Hoppy Refresher. It's sparkling water with hops, and it's actually not that bad. And its
Oh,
mascot is a dog wearing scuba gear.
So in the House of Representatives, uh, 96% of Republicans voted for the resolution. 81, which is 39% of the Democratic representatives voted for the resolution,
Mm.
and six Republicans voted against the resolution, and 60% of representatives voted against. The only independent representative voting against the resolution was uh, uh, Bernie Sanders. So he was independent from Vermont. So that's what I was thinking of. Ortiz and Stump did not vote for the resolution. And then in the Senate, 29. So it's good that we check this because we're getting some things. Democrats 58% of 50 Democratic senators voted for the resolution. Clinton was one of them from New York. 50 Democratic senators voted against, or 21, 42% of 50 voted against. Feingold voted against. That was a senator from Senator Chaffee, Chafee, voted against the resolution. The only one of 49 Republicans who voted against. And the independent Senator Jeffords, also from Vermont, voted against.
Hmm.
So there we go. Most people, uh,
Most didn't vote for it. But I am thinking of something where there's just like one lone holdout. I can't remember what it
but
is at the
so,
moment.
but so the idea that people have posted or posited that everyone was for it,
Right.
incorrect.
Yeah.
We've just read on Wikipedia the most
I mean,
factual place on the internet.
it was a pretty
Uh,
remarkable moment in history that it was able to galvanize both sides of the party towards a common goal
yeah, I mean they
more
passed it.
than had happened in the past, like in the past 50 years or so, or since World War II.
So so this is the basic thing. Right now, as it stands, what is happening, uh, again, among at least my the folks that I'm, engaging with on Discord, is that celebrities who are posting "We stand with Israel," that sort of thing, are being seen as being kind of um, not necessarily pandering, but establishment people.
Yeah.
Like they're towing the party line as far as the government goes, that sort of thing. Interestingly enough, there was something that someone shared. I don't know about the facts regarding this, but there was a someone who was like, "We live in Bo Burnham land now," and they posted a thing on. Here's something that he did that I think was okay. He said on Twitter, "I'm
Bo
never going to
Burnham.
call it X. It's Twitter." The guy who posted, not Bill Burnham, but did I say Bill Burnham?
No.
Okay. The guy who posted, "We're living in Burnham land." Ugh, Bo Burnham land. The guy who said that uh, pointed out that you don't have to call it X. You can just keep calling it Twitter,
Right.
which I think is funny. But anyway, the thing that he said was that the the Israel Twitter account, the official Twitter account of Israel, said that if you were affected, that you can sign up for BetterHelp, and they'll cover some of it. It sounds made up to me. It sounds like an Onion article.
BetterHelp, the online therapy
Yes.
organization.
Yeah. I'm looking it up right now. Israel, because it sounds fake, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, I they advertise on a lot of podcasts, right? You can't if you listen to podcasts, you can't get away from ad reads
Yeah.
for BetterHelp. But I also just saw like a Reddit post for somebody wondering why podcasting shows are accepting ad revenue from this organization because apparently BetterHelp is not that great. they listed off some things that BetterHelp had done, and it's not like they have, or maybe they have unqualified people on the other end, but it's more like financial malfeasance and stuff like that.
So there's a lot of stuff about, looking this up. There's like, do we need to give Israel so much support? Maybe not, and things like that. There's a lot of articles like that go out. It's, I don't know, it's complicated, it's weird. Are we the people to be talking about it even? Maybe not. Um, but the idea that, and and I'm making it clear, I do not know if this is a real thing. I don't, and I feel kind of bad because I might be spreading misinformation. So I want to state I do not know if this is true, but it was a complaint that somebody had about a circumstance that may not be happening but could happen, that um, at one point in time a a sovereign nation could theoretically partner with a commercial entity during a time of war. So the idea, like, oh, I'll give you an example. This is a real one. You can look it up. Monster and the United States of America have a deal. Uh, the military and Monster had a deal, at least at one point in time, where people in the military were able to get Monster uh,
Yeah.
easily because Monster helped.
Right.
And so it's interesting because the idea that there is that there's a like a separation of church and state, but between the military industrial complex and corporations,
Right.
uh,
It does. I mean,
it's weird. I
that
mean,
doesn't surprise me. BetterHelp probably just said, "Hey, Israel will cut you a deal." Or like to the Israel Twitter account or whoever runs that, we'll cut you a deal, but we'll sign a contract for this much money and we'll provide these services.
so this is what I should have done in the
Business
first
deal.
place. I'm gonna go to betterhelp.com and just
Don't
look
do it.
and
Don't
see.
fall down that hole.
Wow, this is not great. Uh, I agree. Ugh, what are we doing? We're FAQ.
Keep it rolling,
Uh,
Paul.
yeah. Oh, I see what you mean. It's not bad that I'm looking. It's bad that I'm looking at this, and it doesn't matter because I am using no CD, and
No
I've already,
CD.
yeah, no CD,
Right. We talked
NOCD,
about that last
no
week.
OCD.
Yeah.
I am in therapy. I have since we talked about it, I've already had a bunch of the sessions. Did I already go to a session when we talked last
I
time?
think he just had one.
Yeah. I'm actually in it now, and I promised that I wouldn't do a thing, and I'm not going to do the thing, but I'm going to tell you what the thing I'm not going to do is.
Okay.
Um, so one of the things that I wrote down, and I think that you know about this, you've actually witnessed this. Can we talk about for a second? I think that you were with me and Ron and Sybil in a car one time. Uh, our our friends Ron and Sybil, and you and I were all going to or maybe you weren't with us. Maybe it was Jay. And I know it's weird that I think of you and Jay as the same person. That doesn't make any sense. But anyway, I'm going to
Makes a little bit
describe
of
the
sense.
situation.
That was, yeah, that makes a little bit of sense.
So I'm going to describe the situation. You tell me if you were there or not.
Okay.
Um, Sybil was wrong about something. She was wrong about a fact,
Okay.
and I corrected her about it. And she was like, "Well, I don't think that's true." And I was like, "But it is true. I know this. This is a fact." And we argued back and forth. And finally, she said, "You know what? Okay, you're right. Sure." And I was like, "No, no, 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 no. You don't get to do that because I know that you still don't believe me. And it's not a question of belief, it's a question of facts, and I know what the facts are, and it just drove her crazy. She was really mad at me.
Yeah.
Um, and and I think that you've probably witnessed that more than once of me. If I know something that is true and somebody is incorrect about it, I have to correct them, and I have to uh, tell people what the real
Right.
answer is. So,
I do know this about you.
what we do for this part of therapy is there's a video clip where someone says something that's incorrect, and then we just stop the video clip, and I don't say what that person said. I don't correct them. I don't do anything. We just sit with that clip having played with the wrong information, and I can't tell Jennifer about it. I can't tell my therapist what the real uh, information is. I also can't tell Jennifer. I can't tell Betty. I can't tell you. I can't say it to a stranger. I have to just sit with that wrong information being out there and not say anything. And I thought that it was going to be easy, but it wasn't.
No,
Um,
because you've spent a
it
lifetime of letting that out. Now you have to keep it in.
Yeah, and it really is hard. And then this is the thing that's maddening. I have homework, and in the homework, I have to watch that same clip again with that same wrong thing, and still not tell anyone. And I can't. And you can see I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to say anything about what it is. I'm not going to backdoor it. But you can see I'm getting a little agitated just thinking about the thing that I can't tell you about. I'm doing this with my fingers now. But here's the other good thing. Uh, I was like, okay, well that's fine. That's fine. I can't do it. That's fine. Good. So let's talk about something else. And she's like, yeah, yeah, it's good because you're never going to be able to tell that person what the true answer is, and
Right.
and you're just going to have to. So she would bring me back
Yeah.
into it, not let me go out. And there was another thing where I was like just looking around the room and stuff. Let me ask you a question. Are you distracting yourself right now from that thought? And because all what it's about making you uncomfortable and having you sit with the uncomfortableness of it. I think I mentioned Project Mayhem from Fight Club.
Yeah.
Um, that's exactly right. Oh, and now let's branch off because I can't think about it. Don't want to. This is my off time. I'm not doing the therapy right now. So, do you remember his name is Robert Paulson, the guy who says his name is Robert Paulson? That guy. He's one of the those guy actors.
I
Did you
know a
see?
I know a voice actor named Rob Paulson.
No, no, no. In Fight Club, his name is Robert Paulson.
Oh,
Is
we're still
is
talking
what
about
they?
Fight Club. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And there's that one guy. He's kind of a big guy
Meatloaf.
who no, 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 no. The guy who says the guy who first says his name is Robert
Oh,
Paulson
okay.
to the rest of the group. He's one of the guys in Fight Club, one of the main Fight Club guys. He says his name is Robert Paulson to the group. Did you see Mindhunter at all on Netflix or whatever?
No.
About oh god, I can't think of what else he's in. Anyway, this actor, Ben, whoever this actor is, he's in a new and I'm sorry about being sniffly. He's in a new A24 wrestling film
Okay.
as one of the Van Erics. I think it's Van Eric. Uh,
Famous wrestling family.
yeah. Do you know about them,
I do
the Van
not.
Erics at all? It's called The Iron Claw, Ben, and it's about that wrestling family.
The Iron
It stars
Clawman.
the Iron Clawman. No, the Iron Claw. One of the guys from the Bear, or the Bear guy, is in it, along with
Jeremy
Zach
Allen White.
Efron. Yeah, Jeremy Allen White. There you go. Zach Efron and some other folks. So, it's good. It's good. It's worth it. I recommend it
Uh,
highly.
Not seen it.
The trailer, I mean, not the movie. I haven't seen the movie,
I
but
haven't
the
seen it. I
trailer is
haven't even
good.
heard of it. So
Okay. The Iron Claw.
I've been I don't know. I recently watched Dope Sick. Have you seen this on Hulu?
I
The
haven't. I've seen trailers for it and
yeah,
stuff.
it's good. It's because I have no connection to the opioid crisis. Like I didn't lose family
Right.
members. I didn't get addicted. It wasn't like triggering for me at all. But I can see how it can be. It can be for some people. But right
Is
now,
fentanyl opioid? Is fentanyl opioid? A question from Paul Goody.
is fentanyl
Um,
an opioid? I don't know. I think it is.
I believe so, because someone at the high school, Jennifer said last year died of a fentanyl overdose.
It doesn't
Apparently,
take much. There's
yeah,
a there's this like PSA going around. Maybe you've seen it. Like it's a vial, and there's a white powder in one. It's heroin. There's like a little bit in it, and there's another one. I can't remember what the second one is, but it's like cocaine or whatever, and not coke, but it's some other powder-ish kind of drug, and there's not much. And then there's like a grain of, or like two
yeah.
or three grains of fentanyl, and it's like these are lethal doses.
Wow, crazy.
But I started watching Only Murders in the Building season 3,
Oh, yeah. I
still
just
on
couldn't.
Hulu.
I cannot get into it,
Have you seen
and
it? How much have you seen?
I've seen like here's the thing. It's I started watching it the first episode. I didn't like it, and then I saw some trailers and I didn't like them. It's the thing of, oh, I can talk to her because I'm also a millennial. Slay, uh, girlfriend. What that sort of, like the person who is, the jokes are broad in a way that I don't appreciate, is what I would say.
Well, I
It's
mean, if
this
you watch
person
more
is
than one
trying to,
episode in the trailer, then maybe
yeah,
that'll change your mind.
maybe so, yes. But here the joke is, this person is trying to speak like a millennial, but for whatever reason they're not like a millennial, and so the things that they're saying um are millennial things, but they aren't good. I'm also sick, Ben. That might be part of the reason uh why I'm not enjoying thinking about the only murders in the building. Maybe I because here's the thing, you're on season 3. I like you, I trust your taste. I'm sure that there are many things to to like about it. And my bitterness may, not my bitterness, but my just I watched a short bit of it, didn't like the vibe of it, and stopped watching.
That's
Uh
fair. I
I
mean, I'm well past the point of caring if people like I think people like the things that I
Yeah,
like.
but I'm not, and so I'm treating you like how I would want to be treated, which is, so there's characterization. You get to know the people. The people have personalities, and there's stuff that you know and you like, and so episodes play those people off of one another, and you start to be able to anticipate how those people will react, and it's more about them and their relationships than it is necessarily about the jokes, perhaps.
Are you
Like,
analyzing about why you might
well,
like
I'm
like something in the
I'm
future?
I'm wondering why I would like it better if I watch more of it. Basically,
It's
I feel
Steve Martin and
like,
Martin Short. They're funny. I mean, and yeah, there are some I'm old jokes I'm trying to relate to young people because Selena
but
Gomez
is
is
it?
also the a foil for them, but they play off together really well. And you
It's
do get
Selena
to
Gomez in the trailer who's trying to sound like a millennial, which is weird.
it is one of the few properties where I actually like Martin Short. I don't actually
Really?
enjoy. Yeah, I never really got into his sticky characters. Ed Grimley, or I forget what his Jiminy Glick.
Yeah. Okay.
I never really got those. They never really did it for me. But in this one, he's actually more, even though he's like this broad sort of like
Yeah.
former Broadway director, it's the realness is what I enjoy about it. Like I do enjoy watching like Martin Short acting as a believable character.
And who is Steve Martin's character? What's his deal
He's
in
a
it?
he's a an actor who made it big with a TV show like 30 years ago and is still living off that fame.
Ah, what was the TV show about?
I think he was a detective. It was called Bravos. And every time they say it, I always think of Game of Thrones for some reason.
Oh, yeah, because of that's a
That was
place
the name of a
in
city,
Game of
yeah.
Thrones. Yep.
So,
So interesting. Okay. So yeah, yeah, maybe. I honestly I haven't been watching TV at all. I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3.
yeah. I saw the trailer for
Um
that. I knew I wouldn't like it, so I haven't played it.
I don't know if the mic picked it up, but I was appreciating Ben in a way that sounded like I wasn't. But I thought that was good. Um, I will say this. I I kept on restarting my character uh, because I
Was
was
it
like, well, I
broken?
want these powers, or I want these powers, or I want these powers, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, and eventually, instead of optimizing, because that's one of the things that I like to do is I look at the game, I figure out how the game works, and then I change my character around to take advantage of certain things. Instead, eventually, what I did was I took a what kind of D&D character am I in real life quizzes, and then I made that character, and then from there I just went forward. So that's who I'm playing now. He's a
So you're
bard,
playing
Ben.
yourself.
Yeah, playing myself. And then I had to start over because
You played yourself, son.
there was a character who they have romance options, and there was a character who was romantically interested in me in a previous character who wasn't interested in me now, and I'm like, what did I do wrong? Where did I fall off? Um, and when I
Characters
restarted,
are can be romantically engaged with you.
yeah, exactly, yeah. Um, and and I and the first time and here's the thing that's crazy, right? This is why time travel is all screwed up because it's sort of a time travel kind of thing. And when I say it's a sort of time travel thing, you'll understand what I mean. So I played a character, and this character who I wasn't necessarily even interested in right away fell in love with me. And I was like, "Oh,"
The
and
horror.
I got to like that experience, right? And I was like, "Well, I'm going to start this over again with a different character, a different set of powers." But I still made pretty much the same choices. And that's how they fall in love with you based on the choices that you make. But then I got to the point where in the original game that I was playing, and let's be real, probably the seventh iteration, because I kept on restarting. That that I said to her, well, I find you very attractive, and she said, well, let's just
Let's
continue
take it
adventuring
slow.
together. And I was like,
Let's get
what?
to know each
Wait,
other.
no, this is not what happens. Normally what happens is you say and I was talking to Jennifer about it. I'm like, well, let's talk about this. Do I just continue? I mean, if I'm playing this like I would in real life, I should just continue on and not force the issue. We're not compatible, so we're not going to be
Yeah.
dating, and that's fine, and just move on. But instead, I restarted the game and
To try to
worked
woo her
back up.
back.
Yeah, and then she did like me, and so the question is, is this legitimate, or because I have these time travel powers, basically, is our relationship not genuine?
Built on a
And
bed of lies.
in the end, it's a game. In the end, it's a video game, and I shouldn't have as much of a moral question about it. Or should I, Ben? That's the question. I think about it
Well, I mean,
every
if
once in a
you're
while.
a concerned mother from the 1980s, you would think that video games would are very influential to impressionable young minds.
Yep. And also, if I were a mother from the 1980s, the character that I'm romancing is from hell. So again, it's crazy. And she's got a metal heart
Are you referencing something I
that
don't know right now?
in the game she has a metal
Oh,
heart
okay.
uh, from hell. That yeah, she's not a demon. She's
Metal
a
heart from hell. I mean,
yeah,
getting your
metal heart.
heart from hell is pretty metal.
Yes, indeed. And speaking of which, as you'll notice, the facial hair has changed again.
Yeah.
I'm growing out mutton chops because someone that I work with said that he wanted to see what I would look like with them. And
And so
for a
that
while,
meant you had to, huh?
yeah, for a while I had my head. There are no mental problems that I have. Also, Ben, by the way, just so you know. So if you remember, I had the kind of thick mustache, and for a while I had the thick mustache and just wispy, not wispy, but the startings of these.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I can't have it both ways. So I shaved the mustache down to match how much this is, and I'm just going to grow them out and see how long that takes for me to not do them again. But I have a bonus, and the bonus is that I now see because I've never let them get long enough that they're beard length.
Yeah.
I forgot that when you grow out your mutton chops, they look kind of bulgy on the sides of your cheeks, and it's kind of cool.
Well, you got to
So
maintain them.
I will maintain. Yes,
Otherwise, you'll
I
look like
will.
a hamster.
Oh no. Wait a second.
I haven't
Is that
shaved.
necessarily?
I haven't
I
shaved in a
noticed
while,
this. Yeah, you have
and
a little bit of a stubble
yeah,
going on.
I'll shave tomorrow morning. It's just that each one of these past mornings have been kind of early mornings, and so I haven't really wanted to spend the time. But it's getting to the point where, like, if I turn my head and like a hair will
Yeah.
catch on, it's like Velcro. It just pulls my hair out.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Okay. Hook and loop.
yeah, hook and loop. It's like you're gone, facial
Uh,
hair. Your time
we've
on
talked
this
about
earth is limited.
we've talked about this before. This podcast is mostly for people 100 years from now. This is an interesting thing. I'm sure that copyright still exists 100 years from now, probably
Maybe
in
only for Disney.
2123. Yeah, I wonder what's in public domain and or if public domain even exists. There's a time period right now anyway. There's a time that after a little while things will enter into the public domain. Things that used to belong to someone else are now available to everyone.
Yeah.
Most recently, Winnie the Pooh, a delightful character by A. Milne, I believe is how the last name is pronounced.
That's how
Uh,
I pronounce
that
it.
that was somewhat anyway. You know, the domain of Disney is now free. Now you can't just draw the Disney Winnie the Pooh everywhere, but you can do your own things now with the Winnie the Pooh
Yeah, I
character.
believe there's already been some sort of like Winnie the Pooh horror, like Five Nights at Freddy's kind of
Oh, I heard
horror
about
movie.
that. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, in the news, someone was upset because a teacher showed their children's class the thing. The thing, John Carpenter.
Even
Uh,
only John Carpenter knows who the thing is at the end of the movie. Oddly enough, speaking of Disney and public domain, Steamboat Willie is going to enter the public domain, I think, next year.
yes. And
But
that
only
character,
the Steamboat Willie version of Mickey Mouse.
yeah, who is, by the way, my favorite version of Mickey Mouse, the one with the sort of the Caucasian human face, unappealing to me. Don't like that Mickey Mouse. Don't need him. Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse all the way,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned. More aesthetically pleasing to me. I like that sort of black and white uh ink line drawing kind of cartoon.
So 100 years from now,
Yeah, 100 years from now, for those of you listening, there's a thing called public domain, where when something enters it, you can use it however you want to. Maybe it still will be there, but what was it? What were we talking about? What was the public domain thing that we're the property? Winnie the Pooh,
I don't know, we kind of got
Mickey
sidetracked.
Mouse. Yeah.
We do
Sorry.
this
So
podcast for people who listen in 100 years.
yes, and I wish I could remember what it was that we were talking about. For those of you who know, sorry, we don't have a lot to
Email us at bensemail at
email us.
yahoo.com,
Ben's
at
email at yahoo.com and
gmail.com.
gmail.com.
You can't call
Um,
us, although I did leave the show phone number. I let it lie fallow for a while. That Google was like, "I'm taking that away from you."
uh-huh.
Um, and then it's fun. Like after that happened, after they sent me an email saying you no longer have this phone number, I went
Yep.
back like about a week later. I went back in because I wanted to get a new phone number to test something out,
Yeah.
and the same phone number was available. So I picked it
Did
up
you
again.
get it?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, awesome. Don't call it, but maintaining it is good. Don't call it to the people. Anyway, so here's what I was going to say. I got my COVID and flu vaccine on Saturday.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm gonna have to do, because I had my D&D game the next day. I'm gonna have to run this D&D game feeling horrible after getting
Yeah,
my
probably.
stuff, and then it got canceled. And so instead, I went to Six Flags with Betty,
How did you
and I
feel
was,
at Six
I
Flags?
well, I took aspirin and I felt okay.
Yeah.
But then when I got home, my foot really hurt, and I realized what it was is I had been on aspirin. So the favoring of different feet that I usually do, I didn't do because I was walking around with no pain. And so that's why my foot hurt because I walked on it weird.
Mm.
And now here's the other thing though. Uh, After that day, Monday to Thursday, I have felt like very, very bad cold. I've had a very
Yeah.
bad cold feel
I mean,
the
I
whole
can hear
time.
you sniffling.
And yeah, sorry everybody. And then I was supposed to, and I still will, go to Six Flags on Saturday. We were supposed to go on Saturday, right? Six Flags, the season pass costs as much as a day ticket. So I was like,
You can't afford
well,
not
no,
to.
the season pass, I'm sorry, costs like $10 more than a day ticket or something like that. So of course I had to do it. But Betty was like, "We're only going on Saturday, so it doesn't make any sense." So
Yeah.
when I felt sick, I was like, "Okay, well, I don't have my D&D game. Jennifer is she just got done recording another book.
Okay.
She needed that day to do it. So Betty and I always have to clear out of the house while she's doing it.
No stomping around
And
upstairs.
exactly. And so we went to Six Flags. And so now we're going to go again. I rode on a bunch of rides at Six Flags. And had a lot of fun. Betty doesn't like riding rides. Betty likes haunted houses. I don't like haunted houses. So we rode all the
You
rides, then
just
we went on
split
all
up
the
when you
haunted.
got into
Yeah,
the park and then went your separate ways and then met up at the very
yep.
end.
But here's the thing: is we went to the park right when it opened at noon, and then we went to the haunted houses and stuff like at 6, and
That's
then
a
I had
long
work the
day at the
next day.
park. Jeez.
Yeah. So we ended up spending about 7 hours there,
Dang.
and then it's a 2-hour drive home. So
That is a long day.
I didn't feel great about it, and
Yeah.
we figured, and so, but the thing is that I knew that we had this drive home. I mean, and I ended up taking highways, so it ended up being an hour and so 2 hours. I tried to avoid highways. I don't like them.
Right.
Uh, but anyway, so the thing is that the haunted houses, we just hit the haunted house, uh, hit the haunted house, hit the haunted. We just went to haunted houses, and there's another part in the park where there are other ghosts and stuff that walk around and try to scare you and things like that.
Is it all Halloween themed
And
now?
yeah, exactly, Fright Fest. And so we didn't go to those parts as long as we could have. Like we could have stayed in those parts and like walked around and interacted with the people and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Instead, we just booked it from hot house to hot house. So on this Saturday, the plan is that we're going to go to the haunted houses and spend time in the little scare zones, they call them, which are
Scare zone.
yeah, the outdoor parts, and not go on as many rides because Betty doesn't like rides anyway. So it was me going on the rides and Betty playing on her phone until I got
Right.
done
It's just
with the
standing
ride.
there
So we're
waiting
not,
for you to get off the
yeah.
ride.
So we're not doing that this time. We're just gonna go to the different places, and it should be fun. That's the plan anyway. But what I'm hoping is that I don't feel sick by the time that happens.
Well,
But the good news
take
is
care of
I have my
yourself.
COVID
Drink
and flu shot.
plenty of fluids and blah blah blah.
Yep. Oh, and that was the other thing is that now that I'm 50, there's also the shingles vaccine. And on the website they allowed me to sign up for all three,
Yeah.
but at the actual Walgreens, they're like, no, you can't do more than two vaccines. You have
Really?
to, yeah, you have to choose which ones you want to do. So my
It's
shingles
funny because
vaccine comes
like
later.
I did the same thing. I signed up online and it was like, pick which ones you want. It never said you can only do two.
No, no, the website will let you do three. It'll let you do four actually.
Yeah.
They said you can schedule up to four vaccines for this visit, but then when I got there, they were like, no.
Yeah. No,
And
that's what I'm
now
saying.
the way,
That this would have allowed me to do that if I wanted to.
yep, exactly. In fact, mine, they encouraged me to
Yeah.
sign up for the other one. So I was like, all right, I will. But the way I'm feeling now, I could see why they waited. But anyway, then I had to wait a week, so I could get the shingles one now, but I'm not going to.
I mean,
I'm
I've
gonna wait.
never had the shingles vaccine, so I don't know if it makes you feel bad afterwards like the COVID one
Yeah,
does.
the understanding that I have is that there might be some pain at the injection site is the thing that people say.
I mean,
Which yes,
I'm still a little tender where I
yep,
got the COVID shot.
yeah. So did you get your flu shot at the
I
same time
did.
as the
Yeah,
COVID
I
shot?
got it that in
Yeah,
this arm.
yeah. The way that I remember which one I got. Quick, Ben, question for you: which arm is my tattoo on?
Is it on your right arm?
Okay, see, this is all right, fine. It is on my right arm. I can't remember, which is funny, I think. But anyway, so the way that we remembered it, tattoo flu,
Ah,
left arm COVID. So I got my flu on this side, and my COVID on this side. And yeah, the COVID side hurts more than the flu
yeah.
side does,
Every
for
time I've
sure.
gotten the combo, that's how it went. I was singing a little song to myself, walking away from the Bartels after getting shot. It was flu shot in my left arm, COVID in my right. Here I am, vaxxed in the middle with you.
Nice. Uh, oh, hey, speaking of combos, you remember peanut butter combos? They don't sell them anymore. I can't find them anywhere.
Are those peanut butter filled pretzel things?
Yeah, they weren't pretzels either. They were like sort of the white Gardetto kind of crackery bread thing.
Oh, I
Peanut
don't.
butter combos at one time that's what they were.
Ah,
They had kind of two different combos that you could choose from. The combo biscuit, if you will, was kind of a like I said, like a kind of a stale bread, sort of Melba toasty, sort of smooth tube, and then inside there was peanut butter or cheese. And what I used to do is I used to blow the peanut butter out of the combo, eat the peanut butter by itself, and then eat the combo by itself. You remember me dissecting food is one of my favorite things.
yeah. You would take a
Um,
fork and scrape all the toppings off of a piece of pizza.
yes. Well, and I mean, if we're going to be honest, I would pick all the toppings off first, scrape the cheese off with a fork, and then eat
Yeah.
the thing. But nowadays, I am able to eat a pizza regularly if I am in pleasant company and I think someone's going to make fun of me or be gross about it.
Yeah, pleasant company won't make fun of you.
Yeah. Oh, hey, that's a good point.
Jerk off company will make fun of you.
Speaking of jerk off company, Pornhub, ladies and gentlemen, is a website. So anyway, the time for podcast has ended. It is now.
The time is 5:03 p.m.
So did we not cover anything that happened that's important? I don't think so. I think we got
I
everything.
mean, we solved anti-Semitism in the first half of the show.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that is the one thing I wanted to say is that for those of you who are listening now, I just want to say that uh the Jews in the United States are not a monolith, and many people in the United States have never been to Israel and don't have any particular love for its government or what its government does. And so you get this weird thing where a lot of Jewish people in the United States accuse a lot of other Jewish people in the United States of being anti-Semitic themselves because they don't support the state of Israel. And it's really kind of crazy how that all works out.
Yeah.
Uh,
World
and
politics is complicated.
so the thing is, don't assume uh, just because someone looks like they would have done some sort of a stint in Israel that they are going to be against you when you think that Palestinian people deserve to not be bombed.
Right.
It is not exactly the case in many, and even though, like I said, even though I'm not, uh, in my opinion, qualified to speak on it, I will say that I do feel qualified to say that you should give people the benefit of the doubt and engage with them honestly and try to find some common ground with someone, even if you don't agree with what you think they're going to say.
And
Find out what
just
they're going to say first,
be a
and then if you don't
compassionate
agree with
human
it,
being.
be a compassionate human being. And until next time, everyone, please keep it wrong. I know I will.
Keep it wrong, Paul. I'll talk to you.
Thanks,
Talk
Ben.
to you next week.
Yeah, did you like that? I sort of tried to do like what the stand-up comic at the end goes. In the end, we're all just people.
Guys, back me
Uh,
up on this.
guys, back me up. Women, keep it down for a second. Guys,
If you
see that
can.
if you can. Hey, oh my God, it's
Stand-up comics. All stand-up
all
comics
stand-up
are horrible people.
all stand-up comics are horrible people. It's except for Emmett Montgomery, who he hasn't, unless Emmett's killed somebody, in which case,
So I
I
don't think he
didn't
listens
know.
to the